Okay, show you how to go about drawing your initials in AutoCAD. So you've drawn your initials out on the graph paper, and you've plotted the points, or at least some of the points, enough to get an idea where things are going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start showing you a method way, how, in multiple ways at that, on how we could draw just the S. And then you would continue drawing the rest of the initials out. What I'm going to be looking for is, does your initials match what you drew on the paper? Truthfully, that's the main thing about this. I don't really care what coordinate system you use. You can use whichever one you prefer. Oh, dang it. I was trying to, there. Let's see if I move this off to where we just have this, there. Because I want just the S here. I just want you to be able to see that as we're going through. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it into a visible layer, because that's the layer I want to work with. Let's see. I was trying to make this. So, there we go. That's good enough so I can see. Okay. Now, I want to draw this first arc, this first little curve right here. So if I do my points and I use my X, my Y coordinates, I can count and find out what those coordinates are. Now I want you to remember, and I want you to see what happens when your dynamic input's on and we put those coordinates in. I want you to see that what happens. So my first one is 2.7 and then 3.75. Then it comes to 3, 4. Then the 2.75, 4.25. Notice what happened, it went way off. So you kind of have to pay attention to certain things. So if you want to use a specific function, like you know exactly where your points are going to be for your X and Y, typically you use that for just to get a starting point, so you start in the right spot. Typically that's when you're going to use it. So make sure that you pay attention to what you're using. Dynamic input is great. It's great, as you'll see here in a minute as I draw some things, but then it can also not be your friends at other times. So just pay attention to that. Make sure that it's not on when you don't want it on. So I'm doing a 3-point arc because I know what points I need to go to. F12 to turn dynamic input off. And now I'm going to type in those excuse me, exact same coordinate points. And after I type it in, hit enter, and then I type in the next set of coordinate points. And you'll notice that that's what it did. So that's much more what I need to do. Now I want to get the top part of the S here. So I'm actually going to draw a circle. I'm going to make sure I'm using the radius version. And I'm going to type in the coordinates, the starting points. So my starting point for this one is 2.5, 4.75. And then the total size of it is 2, so that's a... Now, why is it so big? Because I told it a radius of 0.5. That means it has a diameter of 1. So you have to pay attention to things when you're drawing them. So just note that if you do it, it's okay. Pay attention to what you're doing so you know what you're doing correctly. So now I have 2 lines that come off the top of this. And this is one of those times where my dynamic input is a good friend to have, because I know I need to come over 3 squares, which is 0.75. So I can type in the coordinates to pay attention to that, or this may be one of those times where I can actually use, this is my friend, so I can type in 0.75 and hit the tab key over and tell it to go 0 and hit enter. And I know it comes down 1, so I can tell it 0.25, and then I can tell it 270. And then I can tell it to come back. And so I look and I go 1, 2, 3, so I know it's 0.75, 180. And then so forth. So, and I would have another circle here that goes up this point. Oh, that's what I did. I was like, that doesn't look right. So you got to kind of pay attention to stuff. I was like, that should not be hitting there. That's inside part of the circle. So I'm going to erase that. And I'm going to draw the second circle. Has the same starting point. And this one has a diameter of 0.5. Okay, that's where. .75 tab 0 enter 0.25 tab going straight down to 20. Now notice how when I typed in the 0.25, 270, well, okay, that time it went down. Sometimes it'll go up, so you just have to pay attention to which direction it's going so it doesn't do that to you again. And then I can just come right over here. So that's my top part of the circle. And then I'm going to have a connection line, so let's draw. My next arc. If I'm using that same arc command at the bottom instead of circles with another draw. So I would start with my first point at, yeah, it's one of those F12, turn that off, 2.75, 3.5. And then our next one is, this is when you just have to measure it and look and see, 3.25, 4, and then up, 2.75, 4.5. And it has a line that connects here to here, here to here. Now, it looks a little confusing right now, so I'm going to use my trim command. So click on trim and hit spacebar. When you hit spacebar, when you're working with trim, that's like a select all. And as soon as I do that, I can come in here and trim out some of these parts that are probably making this drawing a little confusing to look at and understand. And I just zoomed in so I can see better. Then I'm going to need to get the last part of the lines here again. And my snap is on, so it snaps to the end. And I want it to come out this way. And again, you can use the coordinate system. You could say at -3 if I was using the relative, and then y would be 0. So you can do it that way. So I could turn dynamic input off, F12 on, off. And I could say -0.75, angle 0, because each quarter so it's 3 squares. Come on. There we go. And then I can tell it to come down. So it all depends which way you're going to go. This is one of those times where I think dynamic input's actually my friend. And so there's my S. Hit the enter key to get out of the command, because if you're stuck in it, it looks the same. So there's my S. So there's my S is good. So I know that I understand, or you understand, the coordinate system enough to draw the S. Now, here's where students are like, okay, well, how do I get it from paper space over into the model? So note the instructions here tell you draw the initials, and when you get done, to delete them, because what it does is that is linked to your viewport that's over here. See, notice you can just see the outline of that square. So you finish drawing your initials, you come back and erase. Just hit the delete button or hit the eraser and hit enter. Doesn't matter to me which one method you use, as long as you can get it done. And title block. And you'll notice now the box is gone, all that's there is still the initials. And I'm going to use my mouse to zoom in and pan so I can see. So notice it says coordinates and initials, scale, year, date, etc. So what you would need to do is literally double click on here where it says your name, highlight it, all caps, type it in, click to the outside. So in this particular case, year, month, day, 2015, January, March, I don't know, the 3rd, whatever day it is. Click to the outside. Scroll over. What version of the course are you in? Are you in 1, 2, 3, whatever? Click to the outside. And of course your professor's name. Once you get through, click to the outside so you can see it, and I'm doing a quick zoom extents. So you've got your initials in this. So then what you're going to do is you're going to print this out so that I can compare your hand drawing to the drawing that you did in AutoCAD. And then you're going to also submit this drawing problem to me in Blackboard. The reason why I have you do both, I'd like to have students print out and submit electronic, is because if I suspect there's cheating, I can easily go in and pull up your drawing file and see if it's going on. So you would need to come here and go to print, and then you will have to go find the right printer. So the one I need is, I do not know if it's loaded on this window, so I need to load it. So the one that I'm looking for is the one that's over in the what is it, the Farrington building to the Farrington 220. So I would have to go add the Farrington 220 printer. And there's instructions in class, and I will help you in class if you need adding the printer. So you literally add it, and you print to it, and then you log into Blackboard and submit this just like you do your activity mats and other things. All right, congratulations, you can do this. I know you can.